Da-da-dum, 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 dum. Da-da-dum, da-da-dum. What is up? Welcome. We are here. We're doing it. Film Club. I'm Carson. That's Groot. And we do this all the time. Welcome. Welcome back, or welcome for the first time. We watch a movie a week in this club, so if you want to be a part of this fun time, all you gotta do is go follow us at Film Club, and we'll keep you up to date on what we are watching every week. This week, boy oh boy, we watched the best movie of the year. I don't care. I don't care what you say. I don't care that it's not even July yet. I already saw the best movie of the year. I happened to stumble upon it in sort of a hilarious way. What was it? 2 weekends ago. I'm down hanging out with my girlfriend's sister and her fiance, and we are trying to figure out what we're gonna watch on Netflix. Of course, the fiance, thinking he's being just hilarious, as we're discussing what to put on, he clicks a 3-hour Indian movie, and we're like, haha, of course. That's funny, Mike. But then the film began, and then a 3-hour extravaganza ensued, where I stood up out of my chair probably 5 times and yelled at the TV about the same amount of times that this is the best movie I've ever seen. So, now that it's officially hyped up to death, and if you haven't been following my personal accounts, I don't shut up about this movie, but this is the movie of 2022. It is from India. It is not a Bollywood movie, though many of us in the West who are unfamiliar might have mistakenly called it a Bollywood movie. It is a Tollywood movie. Turns out Indian cinema is rife with just like a million different kinds of languages and different clusters of cinema. And so yes, Tollywood is a place where we make films in the Telugu language. Forgive me if I'm saying that wrong. But yes, this film is none other than S.S. Rajamouli's RRR. And it is a really good time. You see what I did there? Yeah, this movie's bonkers, bananas, audacious, inventive, just the most fun I've had watching a movie in a long time. It's why I've subsequently watched it like 3 more times, because thank the Lord, it's on Netflix, which is probably how you watched it. It's how I watched it the first time, and I was very lucky. I got to go see this film in a theater with a packed house full of people who had also seen it once or twice. And this sound, okay, maybe you saw Spider-Man No Way Home. And maybe you enjoy yourself a superhero movie, an MCU, you know, you watch all the MCU movies or something. When that Spider-Man movie came out and we saw it in the theater, the roar of the crowd, and you know the parts, I won't spoil them here. There's like 2 or 3 scenes in Spider-Man No Way Home where the crowd was just clapping their faces off, right? That's like, what, 2-3 times? In RRR, for 3 hours, that happened probably 25 times. Because it's just that crazy. Maybe you've seen Mad Max Fury Road. That's probably like the closest that we've gotten in America. Well, that's not even an American film. Anyway, yeah, this movie is unlike anything else. I'm just gonna tell you what the friends at Letterboxd have for the log line here. It is a fictional history of 2 legendary revolutionaries as they journey away from home before they begin fighting for their country in the 1920s. This film is, the 2 main characters are based on real life people. However, if you've watched the movie, you know that they didn't probably do any of the stuff that we see them do. They pretty much act like superhero gods in this movie with what they're able to do with their bodies, with just sheer will. But when I first watched this movie, I couldn't believe what I was watching. And I hope that you've seen it by now, because I don't want to spoil it for you. I think one of the great joys of this movie is the surprise, and not really, like, you can know, right, that the hype is real. You can know that people are clearly excited. The amount of Letterboxd reviews that say something along the lines of best movie ever, best theatrical experience I've ever had, eat your heart out, MCU, you know, no movie has earned a title card drop 40 minutes in more than this movie, eat your heart out, drive my car. These are the kind of reviews. I mean, take a stroll. It's got a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, okay. I know I'm all over the place. I'm just excited. But S.S. Rajamouli, the director of this film, is probably the single greatest action director on the planet at the moment. Because I fell in love with this film, which is the highest, it was the highest grossing film in Indian history until another movie just came out. It is the most expensive movie ever made in Indian cinema. But for those of you who have watched a Bollywood movie or a Tollywood movie, they tend to be about 3 hours long, and they have a little bit of everything. This movie has a little bit of everything. It is an action, adventure, buddy, comedy, romance, musical. It's all of those things. And if you haven't been on TikTok and seen all the people doing the Natu Natu Nachu Nachu dance, you have to, because wasn't that scene just incredible? The dance number in this movie absolutely rocked my socks off. There are no two American or even just white action stars that could do this. Could you imagine watching this movie with like Chris Hemsworth and Ryan Reynolds? They wouldn't be able to do it. They couldn't. Maybe they could do some of the action, maybe they could handle some of the comedy, but by the time that dance number showed up, I was like, there are no quintuple threats that can match these two dudes. And these two dudes are NTR Jr., who is a frickin' menace as Beam. He's amazing. And then probably my new favorite movie star in the whole world, Ram Charan, who plays Raju in this film. These two guys do so many things that I've never seen in a movie before. And I even just talking to my camera right now and to you, I just want to turn it on again, which would probably be like number 4.5 or 5 for me. But let's just break this down, man. These 3 R's, right? It's called RRR. It stands for Rise, Roar, Revolt. And what's cool is at the beginning of this film, for the first roughly 40 minutes, we get the first R, the story, where we are introduced to the fact that the young girl, Mali, has been basically kidnapped by British imperialists. There's a bit of a mix-up, which is saying it lightly, and she's taken by these two white people. Then we get the second R, which is the fire. And we are introduced to probably the most badass dude of all time. Like, I would take Raju in a fight over John Wick or the Hulk right now. Like, I'd put all my money on Raju to just handle it, because the way we are introduced to that character, he's just the most badass guy ever. The mob of like 1,000 people, and he just goes out and fetches one guy and comes back. It's I'm underplaying it because I don't want to ruin it for anyone that hasn't seen it. But I mean, it's like in the first 10 minutes of the movie, and it's one of the most exciting scenes in the whole thing. We get the third R, the water, where we're introduced to Beam. Woo! He freaking tricks a wolf and a tiger into colliding in midair, and then we capture the tiger for we don't know why, but we will find out, won't we, my friends who have watched this movie? We will find out. So yeah, we get these 3 R's, and then boom, we're dropped into a very busy marketplace where a train explodes and there's fire and there's a little kid in danger, and our 2 lead characters meet. They meet for the first time. And they see each other from a far away distance, and Raju gives him a little hand signal, and what ensues is the craziest meet cute in cinema history, where they ride a horse and a motorcycle and they jump off the bridge with a rope, and it's like, why does he have the flag and why is he dipping it in the water? Oh, I know, because when they swing and we throw the kid and he catches it and he throws the wet flag, Beam can wrap himself in it and go through the fire, and you're just like, this is one of the most well thought out action sequences I've ever watched. And then they meet and they give each other their names, and boom, we get the title card finally. And when that happened in the theater, everybody just freaked the fuck out, quite frankly. Yeah, I've been obsessed. I'm obsessed to the max with this film. So much so that I had to go back and watch Rajamouli's 2 most recent films, which are a pair of films. It's Bahubali The Beginning and Bahubali The Conclusion. These 2 films were, before RRR, the most expensive movies in India history and the highest gross. Well, Bahubali 2 was the highest grossing movie in India history. So basically, this guy Rajamouli is like James Cameron of India. He can't stop making big, loud, exciting moneymakers. And Bahubali, whew! Bahubali. This is a video about RRR, but you need to watch Bahubali 1 and 2. 2 is way better just because it's a little bit more similar to RRR. So if you are jonesing for something like this movie, check out Bahubali. It's like more like Game of Thrones. It's like further in the past where this film's in the 20s. But I've already been talking for 10 minutes. I could talk for another 30 minutes or an hour about this movie. But here's the deal. At the end of the year, when I make my list of favorite films of 2022, I don't know how a film would be able to knock this one out from number 1. So, go watch RRR. It is on Netflix. They only have the Hindi dub, which shouldn't really get in your way too much if you don't speak any other languages than English. But if you do, it might be a little weird to see that like their mouths aren't quite lining up right, and that's because it was filmed in the Telugu language, and we're getting the Hindi dub. I don't know the politics of why that's the case, if it's a distribution issue or whatever, but this film is all you need to watch on Netflix. If you watched Parasite, if you watched Squid Game, you've clearly proven to yourself that you can read subtitles when the hype is real. The hype is real. You gotta watch this movie. It's bananas. And that's it. That's all. That's all I have to say. Hit me up when you watch this movie, because I love talking about it. Clearly. But yeah, that's RRR, baby. I don't know if this video was helpful or hurtful, or if it was just for me. It doesn't matter. I'm just glad that we're watching RRR this week, because it's the shit. Follow us at Film Club. Groot and I are always doing this, so we'll be here. Hit me up, man. Let's talk. Let's talk about RRR, man. I want to talk to y'all. So hit me up. In the meantime, we'll have a new film out soon, so be on the lookout for that. And yeah, enjoy this buck wild Indian extravaganza.